Alright, here we go. Next project on deck is going to be this mongoose mountain bike converted into a BMX. I know I talked about on another video it was going to be a BCA, but I couldn't really find that one. And honestly, I'm digging this mongoose frame. Mongoose and Kawasaki, probably my two favorite things. And we've got the white with the green. My plan is really to just basically, obviously make it into a single speed. I got to change out the neck, the handlebars. This really was a great bike for me. It's got front and rear disc brakes, obviously the shock up front. I'm building this for my nephew. He saw my other one and he really wanted one, so I'm pretty stoked to do this one. All in right now with parts, which I think I'm all squared away on parts. I'm only at $225, so I guess you could consider it a custom built bike. You know, it is on the low end for parts. I'm not going to lie to you, they're not top end quality. You can spend $1,000 on a set of cranks if you wanted to. But I'm really stoked about getting this thing put together. So right now I'm just going to watch it. I'll do that off camera. And when I start taking stuff apart, I'll go ahead and put it on time lapse so you can watch some of that. And then we'll start putting it together. So stay tuned and check it out. Let me know what you think. I just wanted to bring you in before I start doing stuff on a time lapse, just to kind of walk you through what I'm doing. I'm not really concerned about the chain, so I'm just going to cut that off. And I'm just going to remove the rear tire for now. I'll leave the front one on just for some stability. Once I get all this out of there, especially this kickstand, I'll be able to clean this up a lot more. And once I get these stickers off, you know, hopefully I'll be able to polish some of this stuff up. I'm not 100% sure, but still should come out okay. And the cranks I got, they didn't come with new hardware, but the caps still look good on here. So hopefully everything is okay. And I'm sure I'm going to fumble around with some of these tools, but I don't do this all the time, but should be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited. So, hey, let's get started. Oh, last thing. The bottom bracket on these, if you watched my other video, I don't know what this is specifically called, but on the 85 Mongoose, on old school BMX, it's called an American bracket. It's really large. And if you remember, if you watched that one, or maybe you know, there are cups that go in, and then basically a axle that goes through the bottom bracket. When I take this off, you're going to see it's a little bit different. This one actually screws into the frame. This is threaded in here. So hopefully I don't have to buy a new one. The bike looks like it's in pretty good shape. I don't think it was outside, not for an extended amount of time anyway. So I'll check this out. I'll definitely take it out to at least clean out any dirt, and just make sure it's not grinding when I spin it. But these are pretty cheap, 10-15 bucks on Amazon. But anyway, there we go. Alright, so I'm going to end up cutting the grips off. I could blow them off with an air hose, but I'm not saving those. I've already got new grips. And the good thing is the brake calipers, the brake levers are actually separate from the housing that shifts the gears. On some of these it's all one piece, and I would have to end up buying a new shift lever, but this really worked out for the best. So I'm going to get rid of the kickstand, throw it away. I'm going to take off this rear wheel. I've got to change this out to a single speed. I'm going to get the cranks off. I'm going to toss that seat and really take this stuff off anyway, just so I can really clean it up. Again, I got to get the heat gun out, so I'm just going to keep going. All right, so I stopped it for a second because honestly I wasn't real sure how to remove these, and there's a really small set screw right under here. So I got the Allen out. I'll go ahead and get them loosened up a little bit, and then I'll get filming back to a little time lapse for you. Cool. Alright, so I know I was going to be in the way trying to take these cranks off, but you have this tool right there that you can pick up on Amazon pretty cheap, and you put this on here like that. Take this, or you can use your crescent wrench and just line it up. When you get it, just use the pedal as leverage and just crank it down. You'll be alright. Alright, so I'm going to try and get this as best as I can for you to maybe help someone who hasn't done this before. Probably going to fumble around with it, just like my words. I'm going to fumble around with it a little bit, because again, I don't do this all the time, and I got to kind of figure out which way stuff goes, but I'll put it on time lapse for you, and hopefully it'll help you out. Don't do what I did. Remember to put this on first. Just the same thing for the opposite side, so here you go. All right, so here's a little update as to where I am. And again, I don't necessarily know what I'm doing. Okay, I just kind of wing it. And it seems like every bike is different. So be aware of that when you're trying to get into something like this. I have not seen a cassette like this before. Usually, where is it? Well, I can't find it, but it's something like this, but it's a little bit larger, like this, with these grooves, and it'll sit in there over this, and then you spin it, you get like a little chain lock, and then you can unscrew it. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. And then with the bottom bracket, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's trash. So I got to order a new one of those. I'll take this one out, I'll measure it so that I get the right one. That's what I'll use my micrometer for. And what you'll measure is the length from here, and I can't really see because of the sun, but from here to here, you're going to measure that, and that's the one you're going to get. All right, let me get some stuff taken care of. Let me check YouTube myself to figure out what to do with this. Hopefully I'll be able to use this rim. Oh, here's the one I was talking about right here. This usually fits over top, and you just lock it in with your socket, unscrew it, not a big deal. But I don't know what to do here, so I got to figure that out. All right, cool. All right, so after some research on YouTube, I had to order a similar tool to this one. Quite possible I've had it before, but I can't find it. That's going to take a few days to get here before I can actually remove this freewheel. It is not called a cassette. The cassette is a little bit different. It looks the same, but operates a little different. So I got to wait on that tool, but I'm going to go ahead and move forward and get this neck or stem off of here. These handlebars. I might go ahead and mock up the new stem and handlebars just to get that on there. Alright, so I forgot to hit record, but really nothing special there. I just used my Allen to undo these pinch bolts, and of course the one that locks it in from the tight to take this off. Now I'm going to go grab the new stem or neck, whatever you call it, and the handlebars, and probably just mock it up. You know, there are some spacers here, and you could trim this down a little bit. I did it on the other one. I don't remember exactly how I did it because there is a part in here that you have to screw into, so I'm going to check that out, but I'm going to go ahead and get the other one real quick. Alright, so I've got my new stem. I'll open that up in a second. New handlebars. I think it's only a 7-inch rise. I think that's going to be a good complement to this bike. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to trim this down a little bit. And as you can see, there's a piece in there. I don't know if it's focusing, but you can see that there's something in there, which is what this piece secures into. I'm probably going to have to do some research to see how to take that out and reinstall it, whatever the case may be. I'm just going to mock it up right now, but I'm pretty positive I'm going to be trimming this down probably a good 1.5 to 2 inches, whatever that is. This looks like, with these spacers, that looks like a pretty good height, but we'll see how it goes. Well, the neck is actually going to sit all the way down here, so we'll see what happens. And let me just go ahead and point this out. So if you are doing something like this, you got to get yourself one of these micrometers here. It's pretty cheap, probably $5 from Walmart or something. Probably wouldn't build a bridge with it, but for this, it's going to work all right. So you need to measure this stem, or whatever it might be called, and I'm at 28.4 millimeters. Now, when you look these parts up, there's going to be dimensions given on the website, but you can check this one, and it's 28 roughly, give or take, you know. So once you put this on there, you'll be able to secure it down. Now, if you measured this and it was 28 or something, and you measured this and it was 35, you're not going to be able to cramp this down enough to secure it on. So just kind of pay attention to that. And same thing with the handlebars. This part that's knurled right here, again, usually on the website it's going to give you those sizes, but most of them 22. At least I believe most of them are 22. So again, when you order these parts, it's going to give that dimension in there. So you make sure you get the right stem for the right handlebars. Alright, so I wanted to bring you in again. Obviously you can't see it, but that knurled part with the grooves and everything, you want to try and get that as centered as possible. And as you can see, I'm going to have to cut at least that 1/2 inch off of there. Excuse me, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, whatever that measurement might be. And I don't think it's going to affect that. I might be okay. So using this is not really going to do its job because that's too high. So, and this is just for mock-up. So I'm just going to set this up and kind of get things in the right place. See how this height feels. If I have to take off some of these spacers, I can, but this is when you want to figure it out. I'm probably not going to do it. I'm probably just going to trim this top edge off like I did on the previous one that you guys didn't see. I didn't do a video on that one. And go from there. I kind of like it. I think it looks pretty good. But when you're tightening these down, get them a little snug, get the handlebars in a decent spot where you want them, and then just kind of go back and forth, you know, across here, then across here. At least that's how I do it. Don't crank one down all the way and then try and crank the rest of them down. It'll be crooked. Try and crank them down and get it as even as possible. Alright, so there's the first modification basically. Got the neck on or stem, the handlebars. I don't like the routing of the front brake cable. I might route it around the other side. Obviously they were down here before, so now it might stretch them out a little bit, and I don't know how that's going to be when I turn the wheel, so I'll have to look into that. However, the clip, or whatever you want to call it, is on this side. I could potentially move it to the other side. There's 3 in there because it did have the shifter cables running through the other side, but I'll look into that. I'm not real sure how I'm going to do that yet. I had to order a tool to remove the free wheel, and then I'll have to figure out how to make it a single speed. I'm probably going to have to get a BMX style instead of a kit that I already have, so that would be another expense. So I did have to buy a tool, which was $10. A free wheel is probably about $20. And I got to buy a new bottom bracket because that thing sounded horrible. So I'll take that off tomorrow and probably start working on getting these stickers off tomorrow. And once I get those stickers off, I'll go ahead and, when I get the stickers off, I'll go ahead and trim this up, and I can probably get that set in space and set and done once I get that piece trimmed up. If I come down here, you'll see that there's just a little bit of space there. I could add another spacer here, but I don't want to. I want to trim that off and get it really cleaned up like that. I'm digging it though. And honestly, even for a mountain bike, the frame, the dimensions, I think are probably similar to a BMX. This is really going to be a cool project. Okay, so I didn't record myself taking the bottom bracket out. It's pretty simple, not much to it. I just used a crescent wrench. Here's the old one. You can grip onto these notches and then just go ahead and get that removed. But as you can see inside here, it's threaded like I said on the previous video, and these 2 ends just obviously screw in. All right, now as you can see, these are loose ball bearings. The one that I just ordered, I guess it's sealed bearings, but I'm going to walk you through a couple things to measure. All right, I'm trying to help out as much as I can because a lot of times there aren't videos on this. So one thing you need to know, and I don't know if most of them are 68 meters, but again, get yourself one of these micrometers from like Walmart. Pretty cheap, probably in the $5 range. And one thing you need to measure is, I think I'm having a hard time here. One thing you need to measure is this right here. Okay, the width of this bottom bracket. And as you can see, boom, 68 millimeters. So that's the width of the overall bottom bracket that you're going to look for. And most of them, when you pull them up, like I said, I go to Amazon, the sizes are referenced. There will be a graph. Now, I think most of them are 68. The other thing that you need to measure is the inside diameter here. 32.6, or did I measure this? I honestly can't remember. Like I said, I do this and then I forget what I'm doing. 34.5. Sometimes I'm 1 or 2 millimeters off, you know, but that's not going to be a big deal. If you see a 34, then that's probably the right one. If you see a 38, then that's probably not it. If you see a 33.5, that's probably the right one. The variances aren't that close together. So, you know, later when I get mine, I'll go ahead and tell you what I did end up getting, and we'll see how close it is to 34.5. Now, here's the tricky part that you need to think about. So I'm going from, I don't know, maybe a 21 speed to a single speed. So on this side, your drive side, I had 3 sprockets, and on the back I had 7 sprockets. Okay, well, I guess in here I had 7 sprockets, and you know, the chain, you know, depending on which gear you're in, would be like this. Now when I make it into a single speed, I want that chain to be as straight as possible. I don't want it to always be crooked, because there's no derailleur, there's nothing to keep it from not kinking up, right? Now, the other measurement that you're looking at is the actual length of this axle here. Now, this one is 124 millimeters. Now, if I get one that's 124 millimeters, that crank arm is going to be out here, meaning that sprocket is going to be a little bit further out. So, I'm going to a single speed, and you know, that sprocket is going to be in a designated spot, and probably closer to the inside than the outside. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. So I kind of rolled the dice, and I went with a 110.5 millimeter length or width axle, the part that goes inside the bottom bracket here that I just showed you, this piece right here. Because I just think 124 is going to be a little bit too wide, and it's going to be cattywampus, or whatever y'all might call that. I've built a couple of these. I don't necessarily have notes from what I did before or what worked best, but I looked at my previous purchase history, and I think the 110.5 millimeter is the one that worked best. So that's what I went with. It's 13 bucks. So if I get it and it doesn't work out, Amazon's really great with returns, so I can return it. But that's where I am. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I'm waiting on a tool to get the old freewheel off the rear tire. And that's not going to be here until about the 24th. So right now I'm kind of at a standstill. This is where it's at. I'm off camera. I'm going to get these stickers off and clean it up. And I'm going to take my grinder. I'm going to grind this down. I'm going to do all that off camera. And then I'll be back once it's all cleaned up. Once I get that tool in, maybe I'll go ahead and record that video. Again, I'm just trying to help out as much as I can. All right, check back with y'all later. All right, so this is called a freewheel, and this is the tool that I was waiting on. I know I've mentioned a lot about doing some time lapses, but honestly, the video was just getting really long, and I didn't do a good job anyway. So hopefully you'll be able to see this a little bit better. So this will slide in here just like that. You use your crescent wrench. This is the same counterput, loosey-goosey, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. This was on here pretty tight, so I actually used my 5-pound sledge to get it broken loose, but pretty simple. Once you get it going, that's it. At least I think so. Let's see what happens. I don't know, I feel like that's not doing anything. Oh no, it is working. Yeah, like I said, guys, I'm just kind of winging this. Although I've built a few bikes, they're all different to me, okay? So this is why this is a freewheel. It's all one piece. A cassette, these are all separate, okay? And then if you look here, you'll see that it's threaded. So your old school BMX, that's kind of how they were, at least the ones I'm familiar with. So I have a kit to turn some of these into a single speed, but for a cassette, not a freewheel. So I'm going to have to order this part. I wasn't expecting that, probably about 10 or 15 bucks, and of course, getting rid of that damn thing. All right, so let me give you an update on what I've done. You can see there's a couple things different. Now again, this isn't going to be a super calibrated build or anything. So I just cleaned this up a little bit of paint. I didn't get all the rust off of this, cleaned it up really well. Got the stickers off, and I'm going to tell you, I shouldn't have. I should have left the stickers on there. At least these that said mongoose here. There's a little bit of fading, but I polished it up really well. I did get rid of these. And as you can see, I've got this out. I'm going to be installing this in a couple minutes, but I really should have left those stickers on there. Hindsight always 20/20, but what am I going to do, right? I'm where I'm at, and let's keep moving. All right, so I want to do my best to give you guys as much information as I can. This is the bottom bracket that I got. As you can see, maybe, I don't know if you can, but this is 68 millimeter, and the width is 110 millimeters. I've already cleaned all this up. Remember earlier in the video where I said the crankset didn't come with new bolts? It comes with the bottom bracket. So I'm gonna put some grease in here, and you can also see on here, hopefully you can see that, it's designated, where is it, left and right. All right, so left side, obviously, it's going to be going in this way. Now, on your drive side, it is reverse thread. Okay, so keep that in mind when you're putting this together. All right, so you got to see me fumble around with that a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. Now you need this tool here, as there's some grooves in here, and as you can see, it fits perfectly. So I'm going to use this with either my smaller crescent wrench or the larger one. I'm going to get this tightened up, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've got to order a freewheel, so I'm going to take my micrometer, or whatever it might be called, and I got 34.3. I'm honestly not sure what measurement I need, so I'm going to take that, look on the computer, and try and order what I need. All right, now converting a mountain bike to a single speed, because of this type of dropout, if you just put the wheel in there and try to find that magic number of links, that axle is going to drop out. At least with a quick release, which is what I have, there's no doubt in my mind that it's going to come out. And I've done a few of these. I've tried to come up with a magic link number so that it's tight. I haven't been able to do it. I know there are some videos where people do it. I've had pretty good success with these. I'm going to leave this on for now, if you can see that, but I'm probably going to end up taking it off. And again, a lot of this is for people that don't know, but you'll notice there's a little notch right there. That little bracket right there is what's going to catch on there, so you'll know how it goes on there. And I just like to put a little bit of grease on everything, just to make it go on a little bit smoother. Probably doesn't need it. And I'm going to be putting on the grips today, but I'll put that on off camera. And the last thing I'm going to probably work on today are the cranks. I'll try and do that on camera. I did find the right size for the sprocket that I needed, so I've already got that on order. I don't know if you like Amazon or not, but I know I could probably find that same sprocket on another website, but it wouldn't get delivered tomorrow. So there we go. It should be down in there somewhere. And I'm not going to really tighten it up very much, just enough to get it on there, because I know I'm going to need it. All right, so I've already got a little bit of grease on there, and these are pretty cool. I think they were only like 20 bucks from Amazon. Again, I wouldn't go jumping any valleys or anything like that, you know, but for what I do, if you're just going to cruise, I think it'll work pretty well. And this is the bolt that goes in to hold it. Pretty simple stuff here. I mean, really, a lot of this is just nuts and bolts. Pay attention to what you took off, etc., you know. I've learned all of this stuff on YouTube. I mean, when I was a kid, you could take a bike apart and put it together, and they were all pretty much the same, you know, but not nowadays. So that's pretty much it. I'll go ahead and put you around to the other side just so you can watch it. All right, so now I'm going to attach the sprocket to the crank. I'm not going to do this on camera, but I just wanted to show you. So you've got this little grommet here, and of course this screws into the grommet. Now, you don't want to see the back side, so be sure when you put the grommet in, it comes in from the back side like that. And then the screw itself, you'll see that the screw head there, it'll look a lot cleaner for you, all right? There are a couple options. You know, you could put it on the top. I'm going to mount it on the bottom right now, see how that works for our spacing once I get the chain, but I really won't know. The cranks in this, I'm not going to crank those down real tight. I'm just going to do it a little snug, just so I can get it on there. I'll tighten everything up once I get the chain, and I can make sure everything is lined up. All right, so just a quick little update. I got the grips on. You can obviously see the bottle cage. I'll be honest, I wish the 29er BMXs had those two grommets so I could get a water bottle cage on there. Cranks are on, pedals are on. Got that chain tensioner. Just wanted to give you an overview. I know the rear tire's not on, so it's kind of hard to see. And you know, there's a lot of things that I don't think about as I'm ordering parts because I don't do this all the time. And although I did look at the rise, and it's a little bit hard to look at because it's kind of an odd angle, I did look at the rise. It was about 7 inches, I think, which possibly a little short. I'm 6'3", so 7 inches would not do it for me. And the width of the bars as well. I did not look at that at all. These are relatively small. Again, for me, they wouldn't work. If you're on the shorter side, it might be all right, or it's just how you want to cruise, but just something else to keep in mind. All right, so the mountain bike to BMX bike is complete. As you can see, I added some stickers. I took all the stickers off, which was probably a mistake. I should have left these on there, maybe some of the other ones taking them off, but I really think it was a good touch to add them back in there. So that was a little bit of an extra expense. I'm going to talk about some of the mistakes I've made, that being one of them. A couple things I've learned, because again, I don't really know everything about bikes. I'm kind of learning as I go along. And I'll tell you roughly what I spent. All right, I know that's a big question when people watch some of these videos, at least that's what I want to know. So I'm going to tell you so you can have an idea whether you think it's lucrative or not. It's totally up to you. But I will tell you the bars, you might notice they're different. They're not black, they're chrome now. And that is because I wasn't happy with the handlebars that I had. They were just kind of too narrow. So I had these black ops already, so I went ahead and threw those on there. Perfect complement to the bike. So some of the things that I had to buy, obviously I had to buy handlebars, I had to buy a stem, I had to buy the cranks, I had to buy a bottom bracket, if you guys remember. I had to buy a chain, bought the chain tensioner. Some things that I had personally that I threw in there were the pedals, the grips, the dice that you see on there. Those were some things that I already had. I also had to buy the freewheel back here, which I'll show you in just a couple minutes. But all in all, including the price of the bike, I'm roughly about $250 if we take out the stickers, because that was kind of a mistake on my end. And that does not count the pedals or the grips, because those were kind of in stock, so to speak. So is that lucrative? Really, that's up to you. You know, if you go out riding, you're not going to come across somebody else riding one of these. I can almost guarantee you that. If you spend, you know, $500, $600, $700 for an SE, you're going to find a bunch of guys with an SE. I like riding something a little different. You know, I don't want to be like everybody else in the crowd. So to me, I think it's pretty cool to spend, you know, $250 and have something that's literally a one-off. You know, nobody else is going to have this, probably. You know, so anyway, I'm going to bring you in and I'm going to talk to you about the freewheeling cassette real quick, just so I can show you my preference, all right? Okay, so I believe in one of the other videos, I explained the difference between a cassette and freewheel when you have the multiple gears on here, okay? A freewheel is when everything is connected and you end up having to screw on this other freewheel so you can have your drivetrain. My preference, freewheel, bad. Cassette, good. Cassette, all those gears are going to be separate. And the reason that I say that the cassette is better is because you could buy yourself a kit like this with all these washers. All right, it comes with a cog. And then what this does is it actually screws on top. Okay, and the reason that that's better, in my opinion, is because then you have some adjustability with bringing this sprocket either in or out however you need to line up with your front sprocket. Remember, I went with the 110 millimeter axle in my crank set, and it worked out great, but I would prefer to have that cassette, so I could actually bring this out maybe just a little bit. I'd rather it be just a little bit outside here. But everything lined up really well. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. But I added a couple washers onto this cog so that I could get that extended out a little bit more. That was one of the other issues that I came across. It's in there just a little bit, just about, you know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch or something like that. Not too bad. But overall, really happy with it. You know, obviously you've got a disc brake on this side. And if you remember, that bottom bracket was in really rough shape before. Obviously being new, you're not going to have that rough shape. But, you know, really cool. I like the black chain, the stickers. One thing I like about doing these conversions is you can have a bottle carrier there. But there it is. I added a little mongoose one up there, and then another one down there. And then here's the black ops bars. Really complement the bike really well. So that's it. The next build is going to be a 92 Mongoose Menace. It's going to be completely custom. I bought myself a sandblaster. Going to paint it, everything. So stay tuned for that one. Let me know what you think about this one. All right, thanks.